Hey everyone, Dan here. I hope you guys are having a good evening. I'm starting a new thing today. I'm going to go through all of the Marvel movies, all of the Infinity Saga, 23 movies. Going to go through them one at a time and rewatch them and then, talk about it a little bit. I'm doing them in chronological order, but this video here is for what was technically the first Marvel Studios movie, Iron Man. Now, at the time, Marvel only had a handful of their characters anymore. Most people don't know that in the 90s, Marvel was struggling on the verge of bankruptcy, and they ended up selling off most of their A-list characters and a good number of their B-list characters. I mean, New Line picked up Ghost Rider and Daredevil. Universal got Hulk and Submariner. Fox, of course, got the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and Sony got Spider-Man. So when Marvel decided it was time to make movies, they had to go to what was not so kindly called the C-list characters. They weren't even considered the B-list. And they launched with Iron Man, which he wasn't that popular of a character at the time. Now, the second thing they did is they went to the director of Swingers. Yes, John Favreau. Now, we look at John Favreau now and think he's just doing amazing stuff. With what he did with Iron Man, with what he did with The Mandalorian, his other stuff that he's put together like Jungle Book and producing the Shannara TV series. So right now, Favreau is kind of riding high. But at the time, he was the director of Swingers. And with that, they went with a very indie feel movie. I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges hadn't starred in a movie in a while, I don't think. Or at least it wasn't the headliner. And of course, Robert Downey Jr., who was one film off of basically being a train wreck. Nobody was hiring him. He got picked up to do Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Shane Black and Val Kilmer. That was pretty good for him. And somehow Marvel decided, let's throw the ball with them. Let's give it to the indie film guy. I mean, this would be like today going, yeah, we're going to give Superman to Kevin Smith and we're going to cast some actor who's never portrayed anything. Well, okay, they did that with Christopher Reeve. Anyway, it was a gamble. And it was a gamble that paid off incredibly. I mean, what Favreau and Downey Jr., Bridges, Paltrow, all of them pulled together is the start of the biggest blockbuster ever, basically. I mean, if you look at the Infinity Saga as a whole, there's nothing like it. No one has ever succeeded in this way to tie together 23 movies into a single universe. That is just phenomenal, and that's Kevin Feige at the helm and just a lot of incredible people. But let's take a look at the movie itself. Now, what they did was, they did a lot of very smart things. They knew they had to set Tony up, and they had to give, the fact that he was, a rogue playboy, didn't really care about much, gun seller, just a weapons dealer. I mean, he's not a very good person. But we had to start by seeing him in danger. And that's where they did it well. They jumped ahead and showed us him being attacked in the Humvees and being blown up by his own tech. Then we jump back and we meet, oh, okay, this is the guy. He's not very good, not a very good person, all this stuff. And by the time we catch back up, we now know who Rhodey is, with Terrence Howard. We now know who Obadiah is. We know who Pepper Potts is and Happy Hogan. And we really know who Tony Stark is, at least at that point. Then we get all the time in the cave and building the suit and Jensen and just a really interesting origin story. So, but they front-loaded the drama and the intensity of being the attack, then gave us the backstory, then brought us back to the intense part, which was really smart. They also kind of do a bait and switch on the bad guys. We believe the Ten Rings are the bad guys for the longest time. And sure enough, I mean, Tony puts the suit on and he flies back and starts blowing the hell out of the place and blowing up tanks and, but we don't see that the true villain is his business partner. And this is also where Marvel creates the Marvel formula. And other people talk about it too, but the Marvel formula is basically you create a hero, you put him on a redemption path, and you put him up against a villain with the exact same power. That way the fight is pretty even. They did it with the Hulk, they did it with Captain America, Red Skull is a super soldier. Abomination was from the same thing as the Hulk. Basically, they put you against this. Yellow Jacket versus Ant-Man. Yellow Jacket wasn't a villain in the comics. He was another identity of Hank Pym. He ends up being the villain, and it works out well. So, now what they did with Iron Man is they really got us to care about Tony Stark, and they showed us the redemption arc going from war profiteer to trying to being a hero, which is an amazing arc right there. And had that been the end of it, Iron Man would have been a great movie. The fact that it laid the seeds for so much of what came after it, it introduced Clark Gregg as Phil Coulson. It introduced S.H.I.E.L.D. We get the teaser at the end with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. It really set up the Marvel Universe in an incredible way. And it gave us what we have today. But you have to wonder, how much did they know? It's really well done filmmaking. It's a tight story. It's probably one of the tightest stories in the Marvel Universe. It's straightforward. You can follow it no problem. You don't need to know everything else going on. It's just a great origin story, a great first story for a character. But it sets up so much. And you really feel the connection between Pepper Potts and Tony Stark. You like Happy Hogan. He's the comic relief, but he's also, loyal. You kind of like Obadiah Stane, but when he turns, you get it. And it's just a really straightforward, good movie. But it's also the building block that they went from, and that's the most amazing thing, is that they created the Marvel Universe there. And that's why I think it's a really good film. And if you think about the one misstep, and I don't know if you'd call this a true misstep, was Terrence Howard, and it's just that they didn't bring him back for the other films. So I don't know if you want to call that a misstep or not, but he didn't come back. And there are very few characters that don't come back. What we looking at 3 over 23 movies. Hugo Weaving as a Red Skull, Terrence Howard as James Rhodes, and Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, replacing Ed Norton. So it just shows how good they were for starting from scratch, and just the behemoth they've created since then. So I think Iron Man is probably one of just an amazing movie. But if I had to give it a rating, I think at the time I would have given it an 8. I'd probably move it up to a 9 now, seeing how well it holds up. I never give 10, but it's one of the better movies, and just, it's strong, it holds up. You can watch it over and over again. There's no moments that I want to fast forward through because they're kind of awkward. It's just a really strong movie. So, like I said, as the original building block, it's amazing. And the fight between Iron Man and Ironmonger at the end, really solid. Really solid. I love the special effects. I love throwing the motorcycle and hitting each other with cars, and they kept the humor in it. It really was. You could see the Marvel formula being created in that movie, and that's John Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. in the cast. So amazing. That's it. That's what I want to say about that one. I will be covering all the movies. This one may not go up first, even though I'm recording it first. I've already watched Captain America and Captain Marvel before I watched this one. So those will probably go up first because chronologically there first, and we'll see how that works out. But hope you all have a good evening. Talk to you soon. Oh, please hit the like, subscribe, all those buttons down below. It really helps to get my page going.